Yet again, I'm making a video response on one of your comments. Seems to be some sort of pattern here. First off, there's no such thing as an assault weapon. Now, the reason they use the word assault weapon and improperly name the firearm is for two different reasons. One, you're like, assault weapon, it sounds scary. So obviously it's a bad thing. Two, when you go to Google it to get real information about it, you type in assault weapon, and right away up pops an assault rifle, and you're like, oh, well, that's what I want to do. And you assume that they use the word assault weapon, that there's an assault pistol, an assault shotgun, an assault knife, assault nunchucks, and assault rifles. So then you click on the assault rifle, not knowing that you're actually looking at a completely different rifle than what they're actually talking about. You find a fully automatic rifle, which to throw an assault rifle in the garbage can would be a huge mistake. They're illegal. They've been since 1986. So in order to legally possess an assault rifle, it has to be made before 1986, which means there's a limited amount, which also means they're insanely collectible, which also means they have an insanely high price tag. Depending on what you want, what kind of shape it's in, what historical value that rifle has. Now, a person that's much smarter than me once said, the only thing you need to know is how to find the library. And you can find everything you want at that point. And I believe that's a very valuable statement because comments like this, they come from pure ineducation. There's not fear-mongering that gets people to buy rifles. There's not scare tactics. People buy rifles that are intelligent. One, they're an excellent financial investment because they're basically inflation proof. As inflation goes up, so does the cost of the rifle. Another reason is if you're smart enough to be able to click a safety belt, you understand that, sometimes it's just a good idea to prepare for things. Not saying the world's going to fall off or everyone's going to die or things are going to go into chaos or you might even need the rifle. The point is that if you did actually need it and you didn't have it, you'd be in a bad position. A really, really bad position. And if you have it and you don't need it, then who cares? At some point you can resell it and you'll wind up making more money than you had spent on the rifle as long as you don't abuse it or destroy it. Now, another thing you need to understand is we're not taking military rifles and putting them into the civilian world. These rifles started off in the civilian world, and the military recognized that they have potential and adopted them. Now, when I say potential, not as in killing potential. Actually, these things are very terrible at killing. Let me show you something. Every single one of those firearms, except for the 3 on the end, which are 22s, are more effective at killing than this rifle right here. As a matter of fact, this is actually pretty poor. Compared to the rifle that this rifle replaced, this isn't that good of a rifle. Now, the reason they use this rifle, so the military, you have a whole bunch of people, right? You need something you can train on easy. It's got to be light so they can carry other gear. This doesn't have a lot of killing power. It doesn't defeat body armor well. It doesn't have long range. It's not very good for CQB, close quarters combat. But it can do all those tasks. Yeah, it sucks at the tasks, but the fact of the matter is it is able to do it with some disadvantages. But because it can do every single task, it's like an adjustable wrench. It'd be a hell of a lot easier taking off a 9/16 bolt with a 9/16 wrench. But if you also have to take off a 5/8 bolt and then a 3/4 bolt, and you can only pick one tool, the only tool you can pick is the adjustable wrench. So, for your basic infantry troop, they're going to give them this way they can kind of do every scenario. Yeah, not that great, but it is doable. Back them up with a sniper team, stuff like that, and then they're good to go. And the reason I recommend these rifles is not because it's a good killer. Honestly, I can use any one of those rifles. for the most part, for killing more effectively than this. Because you can't ignore the fact that firearms are specifically designed for killing. So to say that you're going to lower, like violence or deaths by firearms by removing one specific firearm, it's just an ignorant speech to make in the first place. Now, I recommend these firearms because they are one of the safest, most easy to learn, adjustable for multiple people rifles you can get. For kids, women, older gentlemen, this is the rifle you need to get. For someone like me, it don't matter. I can use any of them quite effectively. And another thing I don't understand is why when something happens like a school shooting or something like that, the firearm's the blame. Now, when a cop makes a bad shot, they're not like, oh, well, he just had the wrong gun. That's the reason he shot this person that he really shouldn't have shot. No, they go after the cop. Am I missing some sort of, like, line that gets crossed? Or do they use special firearms that don't make the person evil? Or is there some sort of boundary I'm just not seeing? If you could fill that in the comments, that would be quite helpful. But no matter what you look at it, the reason we fight so hard for this rifle, even though it's not that great, is 1, the investment. 2, this is the rifle that saves the people that don't know how to use weapons. 3, and has absolutely nothing to do with this rifle. They're talking about an all-out firearm ban. This is just the Trojan horse. It's the way to get in. The scare tactic to get in. And that's another thing, like fear tactics. Come on now. The only people using the fear tactics are the people that want to take away firearms. They really are. They're blowing things out of proportion, making things sound way different, intentionally falsifying names, and anybody that really wants to take away firearms is either ignorant or evil. They just don't understand like what exactly they're trying to do, or they are intentionally trying to shift the power from the people to the government. But that's how I feel about that, so can't really curse on here to give you the middle finger, but leave in the comment how you feel about that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.